And one of the other cool parts about the Hi-Point is, once it's empty, because of its weight, you do have a rock to use in case of emergency. Hello sports fans, and welcome back to AmmoMart's version of March Madness. We hope you enjoyed week one. Out of the first bracket, as you all might know, the Canik TP9 SF was the eventual winner. However, the Taurus GX3 or G3 XL gave it one heck of a run. An excellent little pistol for $299. So before we continue on with bracket number two, I must apologize and tell you that even though on order, the Smith & Wesson SD9 VE did not come in. So we're going to replace it with the Smith & Wesson M&P Plus. That gun you can pick up locally here for right at $400, which puts it right at the upper edge of the limit, but it is still $400, so counts. Now, I also want to cover one thing about the SCCY or the Sky model. I thought it would be interesting for our viewers to know that you actually can get an optic-ready pistol for $400. I'm going to shoot one on the range. It's the Sky CPX2, which means it's got the safety, and it actually comes with a factory-mounted optic. Hopefully our viewers won't think that because it has a dot, it has an unfair advantage. However, anybody that's ever shot a Sky before knows that with the trigger issues that double action heavy pull has, it's not much of an advantage, if at all. So I haven't shot that particular model, but we'll see how it goes. Rounding out the bracket will be the BRG9 versus the Smith and Sky versus Hi-Point. So let's get to the game. So I'm excited to continue on with the tournament. First matchup of the day will be the BRG versus the Smith. We're going to do the drill the same way we did in the first part of the tourney. We're going to fire 5 rounds from 10 feet, 25 feet, and then 50 feet. And as we go, I'll kind of narrate and give you some feedback of what I think of all 4 contestants. So first, the BRG9. This, of course, as you can tell, sells for $249 locally. I have the most experience with the BRG, as our viewers are aware of the other guns that we're going to use in the tournament. This does come with a very nice gear pack, extra magazine, magazine loader, interchangeable back straps, and what looks to be a complete cleaning kit. So that's an awful nice gear pack for $249. The BRG, of course, 2 white rear dots and an orange front. Already got the magazine preloaded. Range is hot. We're going to use the left side of the targets, top one being the 10-foot range. So, initial feedback is the BRG groups extremely tightly. The trigger is unbelievable for $249. Very impressed with that. There's not a lot of mush, crisp break, very, very, very good sort of craftsmanship in the trigger. Very happy with that. Now let's go down to 25 feet. BRG at 25 feet, left middle target. My Gen 1 eyeballs don't see too awfully good, but that doesn't look too bad. Slight low print, but like I said in the previous videos, that could be just the way I'm stacking the sights. So now we're going to give her a run at 50. This will be the 50-foot test. This particular gun shoots extremely soft. It's got a very good recoil management system. Front sight post is very easy to see. looks like it does have a bit of a low trend. Magazine, of course, locked to the rear. I'm going to run the target back and see what we got. So far in the tournament, though not exactly on the bullseye, the BRG does actually group the best by far of any of the guns I've shot, including the Canic, which won the first day of the tournament. Now, some of that could be the way I see the sights or happen to be stacking the sights, but I must tell you, for $249, this is one heck of a handgun with one heck of a gear pack. I'm completely impressed so far. Let's get the Smith out and see who wins this part of the bracket. Matched up against the BRG will be the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. This is the common packaging from Smith & Wesson, cardboard box. Of course, firearm in plastic. In this compartment, you do have a second magazine as well as a cable lock. With the Smith, you have the common 3-dot sight system. However, the front sight post, its dot is larger than the rear, at least it looks so from here. So squaring off against the BRG will be the Smith & Wesson M&P Plus. It does have a different sort of trigger design than the original versions came out with. One would think that means that the trigger is enhanced. I've never shot this gun before, so I'm going to give it a shot and I'll try to give you some feedback as we go. Right now I'm using the 11-round magazine that comes with the weapon, and you can see it's a bit extended for people with larger hands. So we're going to go top right at the 10-foot line and see how she goes. Okay. It does have a quick trigger. Not a lot of creep to it. Accurate gun, for sure. And this, of course, model does come with a safety. Kind of tucked away and hidden. And you can tell, very, very, very decent accuracy, probably beyond decent. But one of the downsides to the gun is it does shoot considerably more recoil than the larger frame BRG. So obviously this was designed more as a carry gun, and you can tell it's slim footprint in the whole deal, but the shooter will have more felt recoil. Let's go down to the 25-foot line. Smith & Wesson at 25 feet. Cancel the safety. And here we go. It's got a slim frame, but it's pretty comfortable. There's not much take up to the trigger either. And it does action immediately. That one might have been me. Yep, definitely was me. So, taking the first one out, which was obviously shooter error, I must have broken my wrist. It is kind of challenging to try and shoot multiple guns in a short period of time because your brain's trying to apply an old trigger pull to a different gun. But you'll notice, once I got it figured out, this is a very accurate pistol. Let's see how we do at 50 feet. Here we go. All right, I'm going to run the target back. So as you can see, and we'll have to go to the video, some of these might be multiple impacts or should be 5 holes in the paper, but there's only, yeah, so these are 3. This here is more related to my inexperience with the gun than the inaccuracy in the gun. It is in fact not. This is one heck of a little pistol for the money. Now, once again, it is in the higher end of our range at the $400 mark. I would say for most people that's an exceptional value. However, since it's my tournament and my rules, I dislike shooting the Smith & Wesson Shield, even in its earlier versions. I find the gun to be very recoil driven, though accurate, and it is extremely reliable. They make a good product. It's just not something that I would think that most people would enjoy across a wide spectrum. If you're looking to purchase a handgun that checks a lot of boxes, I find the Shield to be a little wanting. Yes, accurate and all of that, but enjoyable to shoot, not so much. I'm going to advance the BRG in the tournament. Matched up against the Hi-Point will be the SCCY or Sky firearm, once again with a factory mounted optic. It does come with the magazine extra for 2. And of course your optic. The sights obviously do not co-witness, which we'll demonstrate in a minute. You also have a trigger lock. Of course, looks like you have some different foot pads for the magazines, which some people might find to be agreeable. This particular optic is from Crimson Trace. And of course, as you can tell, the sights don't co-witness as there is no rear sight. This particular model of Sky does come with a factory mounted optic. We're going to see how much of an advantage that actually is. Hopefully it won't be too much of one. So I'm going to get started, of course, at the 10-foot line, and we're going to use the left side of the target. Alrighty. Here we go. Find the dot. Oh my. This particular model of firearm does not have anything but a double action trigger pull. Wow. That takes a while. What a awful trigger. So we're on the bullseye somewhat. Yes. So initial impressions, and I want to say this before I lose it, that gun is physically painful to shoot. The recoil impulse and the way that it operates, it feels like you're taking your hand and slamming it down hard on a flat surface, or on a chilly day playing baseball and you hit the ball with the bat and you that's exactly what happens every time you set that gun off. Without the dot, that firearm would be unshootable. Even with the dot, it takes so long to get off a well-aimed shot. I'm not sure how good that would get, what practical use that would be out on the road. So far, not much of a fan, despite the fact, yeah, it does seem to group well. That's about all you can say for it. So, this will be the SCCY accuracy test, 25 feet. There's the dot. There's our awful trigger pull. Wow. And that is directly related to how long that it takes to get that gun to fire. Earlier I did a video about having strength and dexterity issues enough in your hands to shoot the guns. I would bet you money that a large section of people looking for handguns these days would not have enough strength and dexterity in their hands to actually pull that trigger. It's that stiff. Continuing on to 50 feet. So here we go with the 50-foot accuracy test. Wow. Okay. That trigger break is just, oh my. So, that's me doing my best, I promise. So, question before us is, how do you go from this to this? It's real simple. You get away with more when the target is extremely close. And that long, heavy, clunky, awful trigger pull does not pay dividends at range. Does not. This is not a weapon that I would recommend people buy that are interested in a life safety tool across a wide array of applications. Sorry, Sky, not a fan. But we're going to run it off with the Hi-Point, see how it goes. I lost track of my concentration for a second and actually shot the Sky on the right side of the target. So bear in mind, this is actually Sky. I'll mark it so everybody's clear. And then I'll flip-flop over for the Hi-Point. As you can tell, this one's way under our $400 price limit. And if you open up the box, what you have is, looks like some sort of trigger protector or trigger lock, and it ships with one magazine only, apparently. Still has the safety warning on the handle. And basic pistol, but at $175, I don't know how much you could complain. You have very visible sights, orange rear, yellow front, and an elongated ramp. It kind of reminds me of revolvers from the 70s and 80s. Here comes the Hi-Point, actually manufactured in Mansfield, Ohio. Matt and I happen to know a couple of the employees down there. We had a great time with them at GunCon. Really, really cool guys. Hope to catch up with them again maybe this year at GunCon. But Hi-Point, 10 feet, see how it goes. One of the things you have to keep in mind as a shooter of the Hi-Point is the slide has a very unusual profile. And in my humble opinion, one of the reasons why that this gun has the position that it does is because people actually ride the slide and it slows down to the point where it causes malfunctions. Much better trigger than on the Sky, but we do have our first malfunction. Slide a bit draggy, which as I said could be my grip. I'm going to get completely off of the slide and see if that doesn't help things some. Yep, that was it. So, the accuracy test is awful doggone good. One of the reasons I can tell you firsthand about what happens with the slide on a Hi-Point is I looked like a complete fool at GunCon, caught on video somewhere, hopefully buried by now, of the guys from Hi-Point running it versus me. I had problems every time, simply because I didn't know what I needed to know. So sometimes guns get a bad reputation unnecessarily, sometimes they don't. As you can see, modifying my grip, the gun runs fine. Let's try it at 25 feet. So here comes the Hi-Point at 25 feet. I'm going to jump over to the left middle target. So this gun costs locally about $179. And I must tell you, for $179, it's got a pretty decent trigger. It actions pretty smoothly, pretty quickly. Oh, another malfunction. Gun did come new. You can still see it's got stickers on it. No malfunction there. And we have another one. Failure to fully chamber. Okay, slides locked to the rear. Going to move the target down to 50 feet. I can't really see how well it went. It does seem to have a low print again, but it is holding a pretty excellent group for a $179 handgun. Now we're going to go back to the right side of the target. We have had some issues with the weapon not fully chambering. I did not oil or anything else, but in all fairness, I did not do that to any other of the ones either. So here we go, 50 feet. Went that time. That looks like I dropped that one. Okay, no issues that time. In all sincerity, I truly believe that my hands were what was actually affecting the slide on the gun. Now, some of you would reasonably conclude if I have to modify things that much, I don't want the gun. I'll have to leave that up to the viewer, but what I can tell you is, so far, I like it much better than the Sky. It is shooting low. We do have 5 impacts, however. The trigger is decent. The gun does not have a lot of recoil because of its heavy design. And one of the other cool parts about the Hi-Point is, once it's empty, because of its weight, you do have a rock to use in case of emergency. In my opinion, without question, this is a by far better gun than the Sky, even with an optic. They can keep the optic. I would use this. So it's pretty obvious that the BRG 9 Elite won this bracket. To conclude the tournament next week in the finals, it will be the Canik TP9 versus the BRG 9 Elite, the class of 2 Turkish Titans. I'm very familiar with both of those guns, and we're going to put it through some skills drill, not just slow fire accuracy. Drills we've seen on the channel before and I'm very familiar with, so that element should be taken out, and we'll do an honest evaluation of which gun is truly the best for under $400, all things considered. Thanks for viewing, and don't be afraid to like and subscribe.